We understand the gravity of the climate threat. We are determined to act, and we will meet our responsibility to future generations.
Barack Obama on the world stage at the United Nations today. Climate change, just one topic. Mideast peace and others. He's got quite a full plate.
If it's Tuesday, it must be climate change. President Obama got another contentious issue to deal with. Top Line starts right now.
Hello and welcome to ABCNews.com's Top Line. I'm David Chalian.
And I'm Rick Klein.
Each weekday we're bringing you the very latest political headlines, reporting, insight, analysis, everything you need and want to know about politics.
And if you can't get enough of me and my Emmy-nominated co-host over here, you can keep the conversation going. It's at The Note, twitter.com/The Note. Let us know what you think.
Kick us off, sir. What is your top line today?
Diplomacy Day, a full plate for President Obama in New York, a speech this morning on climate change, and then meetings this afternoon with the Israeli and Palestinian leaders, also the leader of China. High stakes for President Obama on the world stage at the UN, his first trip there. Of course, people watch him very skeptically, both at home and abroad in these trips, but a lot of things he's got to sort out in these next few days.
He does. The climate change thing is interesting because, you know, that big meeting's coming up in Copenhagen at the end of the year. The administration already trying to tamp down expectations. It seems like China's trying to upstage us a little bit on that issue, and yet there's no way with his healthcare agenda right now, and then with Afghanistan taking over, that he's going to be able to really work on climate change this year. It seems that the legislative calendar is a little blocked, so it's a tough issue for him up there today. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Max's markup. Yes, Senator Max Baucus is moving the healthcare phase to its next step. This today is the Senate Finance Committee finally getting to his bill. Of course, before the markup even began, as Karen Tumulty was telling us yesterday on the show, he had a modification adding some $28 billion to it, trying to address those affordability concerns that Olympia Snowe and some of the Democrats in the Finance Committee have. There are still going to be hundreds of amendments now, Rick, and just listening to the senators this morning, I don't think that bipartisanship, which has proved elusive thus far, I think it will continue to prove elusive. 550
amendments, to be specific, and the only ones that matter really are the ones that Senator Olympia Snowe wants, because that's the vote that they're really working to get. Strategic shift. President Obama is caught in one of these classical battles with a fight within his administration right now over the next steps in Afghanistan. He now has General McChrystal's report out there publicly as well as privately, conflicting advice, reports of leaks and backstabbing and who wants what here, and he's got to sort it all out with a couple of strategic choices, none of which are very attractive.
This narrative is going to be really problematic if it hangs for too long. There is going to have to be, probably because of the leak, an accelerated process at the White House, or at least in the sense of Obama talking to the American people. If there is a strategy shift, he really needs to sell that and explain it, because he was in one place not that long ago, back in March. So he'll have to explain what has changed and why. And Biden's dire forecast. Yes, one of those great moments here again with Joe Biden where he probably speaks a little more truth than the White House would like. This is almost giving into the idea of that whole Jim DeMint Waterloo thing. He gets up there at a fundraiser he was doing in Delaware, and he said that if the Republicans are successful at really causing the Democrats some harm, and maybe if the Democrats lose 35 seats next year, that will put an end to everything he and Barack have been trying to do, he said. That's pretty dire, and not probably what Democrats wanted to hear from Joe Biden.
And the other side of it, if they keep those seats, then it is an era of utopia and bipartisanship. Let me tell you, if the RNC doesn't cut this into a fundraising video like today, that is political malpractice.
Indeed, it is. We're going to begin with that controversy surrounding ACORN that you've heard so much about. We're joined by the national CEO of ACORN, BERTHA Lewis. Thank you so much for being here today. We greatly appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
I want to start with maybe where the president left off on Sunday. And I know that you've spoken about the unacceptable behavior that was on display in those videos that many of us have seen, where those undercover journalists went in and kind of exposed this behavior that the president also said was unacceptable.
Absolutely.
But the other thing that the president said was that he thought he wasn't paying much attention to it. It really wasn't on his radar. He didn't consider this very important. And I wonder, for your work, here's the community organizer in chief. This guy is known for being a community organizer, that he didn't seem to think that this was so important and not on his radar. Did that hurt your feelings at all?
No, and here's why. Because I'm a community organizer. You always have to stay focused. We deal with some pretty serious issues when you're organizing poor people. I think he has an awful lot on his plate, as both of you just alluded to earlier. And so for me, I understand. He's staying focused, and as a community organizer, we're doing our job. He's doing his job. So
you had an announcement out just a few hours ago that Scott Harshbarger, former Attorney General of Massachusetts and the head of Common Cause, is going to be leading this independent inquiry into ACORN's practices. We've got a lot of good questions via Twitter. One from Cap DC, who asks, is this report going to be made public? If there's nothing to hide here?
Certainly. We're really very happy that Mr. Harshbarger decided to do this.
So the full audit is going to be...
There's no reason to do this if, one, not going to restore confidence in our membership, our board, the people that we organize around this country. And since I took over, I've said to people, we have been restructuring ACORN to be the next 21st century. We've been around for 40 years. We want to be around for 40 more. So as soon as this is done, let the chips fall where they may. As everyone knows, I own up to all the warts. I'm really sorry about what happened, but anybody that knows me, I take swift action. I think Mr. Harshbarger has a reputation for being tough and pulling no punches, and quite frankly, I can't wait to work with him, and I think everybody will see the report and they'll know what we did and what we have been doing, because I don't think people really, that has gotten out, how much work we've been doing.
So you will make that report public. I do want to get a sense from you, how do you know and how can you sort of, I don't know, to all of your supporters out there, sort of assuage their concerns, that there are not more warts to be exposed? I mean, ACORN is not new to controversy. Sure. This was sort of explosive with the video and this sort of egregious behavior. It certainly was, but not new to controversy. I mean, there have been allegations of fraud during your voter registration drives in previous election cycles. How can you sort of convince your supporters and your critics out there that more videos are not out there to come? How do you, have you plugged all those holes?
Well, and I've said it. I mean, this just exploded last week. And I've been diligent, office to office to office. But let me just say this. I don't know any corporation or any organization that can ever tell you that they are absolutely perfect. We are certainly trying to be. We've been doing a lot of work. The work still continues. But I've said this publicly. No matter what, we don't think criticism of us is ever going to stop. But I don't care how many videos there are. I will deal with them if I have to deal with them one by one. I think this is a strategy of sort of death by 1,000 cuts, but it doesn't matter. We've been subjected to this for 40 years. This goes with the territory. I can't guarantee it, but I can guarantee you this. Anything that you see that's untoward, I can guarantee you I will be on it, and I will be as tough can be and do whatever I have to do to correct any mistakes that we've made.
How would it impact you if Congress cuts off all federal funds to ACORN?
Well, again, our figures have been blown out of proportion because folks have put together everything since 1994, like 15 years. On average, we get between $2.5 million. We have 500,000 members, 71 offices. We service hundreds of thousands of people. So in the grand scheme of things, most of our funding comes from our membership dues and private folks, donors, foundations. And so this is about 10%. Anyone would hate to lose it. It's not the amount of money, but to me, this is an embarrassment, and I want to make sure that we restore the public's faith and confidence.
You'd be able to operate, and would you?
We will be able to operate.
Are you willing to go before Congress and answer questions about this? This came up on Sunday on Fox.
Here's what we know. I mean, and I'm not making any apologies for what people have seen. I apologize sincerely.
I'm just asking if members of Congress want to ask these questions.
They'll say, have a hearing that, I think it almost blows us up a little bit bigger, because the bigger we are, the more important this thing seems. I think Congress, in its wisdom, the agencies that we've dealt with, we've always cooperated with folks.
I'm sorry, we're running out of time.
We will do it.
Yes or no? You will do it if they see fit. Okay, great. Bertha Lewis, CEO of ACORN, thank you very much for being here today. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks so much.
Don't go anywhere, folks. More Top Line with Republican strategist Kevin Madden coming right up.